everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. I'm currently working on designing my 5-year-old's unicorn birthday party, and I'm really excited because in this video I'm going to be creating some 3D letters that I will either place beside her cake or I'll place on the wall behind her cake. I haven't quite decided where I'm going to place them, but I can't wait to show you the paper pack that I'm going to use because it's going to be so cute and so fun, and I think all of the prints are really going to come together. As always, I'll link all of the materials I use in the description box of this video. I did find that using a sturdier paper or cardstock worked much better for 3D letters like this. All right, I can't wait to show you what these are going to look like. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's one of the letters that we are going to work with, and this is what the 3D letters look like in Design Space, and this is what they'll look like in pieces before they are all assembled. So I found the 3D letters by going to Images, which is the fourth button down on the left-hand side, and I just typed in 3D alphabet or 3D letters into the search engine. And I believe that the designer is Lori Whitlock. And I also want to mention that these are not free. Even if you have Cricut access, they are an additional fee. I believe they were $1.99 per letter. And then if you have access, you have an additional discount available. I tried to find these again for you in the images section and I wasn't able to locate them. So hopefully you're able to find those if you want to do something like this as well. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make sure I color code everything so that I know which pieces of paper to put in at which time. So I personally like to do it this way just because I like to craft a little bit distractedly sometimes, so then I can automatically know which paper to put in without having to really think much about it. So I know that my little letter is going to be a teal color, so I'm just going to make that a teal color. So I'm just grabbing in my layers panel the element that I want to change, and then I'm coming over to the color box over here and changing that manually. Now I already have my letters all ready to go, and I have them at about 7.5 inches tall, so I've already went ahead and manually size those just with the size button down here. Now you want to make sure that since they're all grouped together that you do all the sizing together, because if you don't, then all of the pieces will not line up. Okay, so again with my color coding, I'm going to go back. This is going to be more of a light pink, and I'll just go to advanced and drag that down a little bit so I know. Again, grabbing the pieces that I need, I will just make that a light pink. And then for my top pieces, which are going to be what hold the letters together, I'm going to do a darker cardstock for those pieces. Okay, so I have everything color coded how I would like. I'm using my Explore Air 2, and I'm going to go ahead and say Make It. Then my letters are placed on the mats individually, so we're all ready to go there. We can go ahead and say Continue. And then for our material selections, my first two, or my letters actually, are just going to be a cardstock. So I'm going to browse all material and I'm going to say medium cardstock. Now when it comes to my third mat, which actually will go at number 2, I am going to actually use the heavy cardstock selection because it's a different type of cardstock. It's a little bit sturdier. So medium cardstock, and then I'll come back in and change those. We're also going to be using the scoring tool. So we're going to use the scoring stylus and the fine point blade. It's also going to have us load a pen as well. So we're using a bunch of materials, but it really helps everything get assembled even easier. So we'll go back to mat 1, it will cut that out, and then I'll show you mat 2 how easy it is to cut that out with all of the little attachments placed into the machine. Okay, so I have my scoring stylus and I have a black pen. They're all ready to go. Here are the paper selections that I'm going to use. So I found a really fun paper pack on Amazon. It's by Echo Park Paper, and I'll be sure to link it below. But my daughter wants a unicorn birthday, and they had really fun unicorn paper, and then I thought some other really cool prints that really coordinated well. So I thought this was really fun. I really liked the colors, so that's what we're using. So I'm going to use this cupcake one, and then the hearts, and then this is a sturdier cardstock that I will be using to do the surrounding area of the letters, and you'll see that in just a minute. So my first is going to be this pink color. So I'm just going to take it and put it on my mat right here and just lining that up just like this. Okay, then I'll go ahead and load that into the machine and cut this first piece out. Okay, so my first letters have been cut, so now I can just go ahead and set those to the side. It's calling for my thicker cardstock next, and this is the one that we are going to use the scoring stylus on, and it just walks it through right on the design space screen for you. So what we're going to do is first load our mat into the machine. Then in clamp A, we're going to take our scoring stylus and just clip it right in there. So you just push it down, you'll hear a click, and then close the little clamp and then say go. So the scoring stylus is just going to create really nice score lines into the material so that it's easier to know where to place the fold. So then when it's done, it's going to have you put the pen into clamp A. So any color pen is fine, but again, you're going to push it down until you hear the click, then close the clamp, and then you can click the Cricut button to resume. So the pen is just going to place little circles in certain parts of the design so that we know how to line everything up and assemble it. And then what it will do is it will automatically switch over to clamp B where the blade is located, and it will do the cutting. Okay, so this is all finished. So I'm going to unload it and then turn my mat over once more and just kind of bend that mat, and everything just falls off nicely, just like so. Okay, so we have our scraps that we don't need, and then we have some pieces that we will use in just a moment. So now we have our final piece, which is so cute. It's this little cupcake and ice cream and donut paper, which is so fun. And then I'll place that on the mat and cut it, and then we'll get to assembling. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces and we are ready to start assembling. So really quickly, I'm just going to match up where the pieces are going to go together just to make sure everything is where it needs to be. It makes assembling just a little bit easier. And then it's hard to see, but the stylus did create some score lines. So what I'm going to do is then just fold at those score lines, and you can fold whichever direction that you prefer. I prefer to fold into the score line just because I feel like I can visually see where I need to fold, and it makes it a little bit easier, but whatever you'd like to do is just fine. So what I mean by folding into the score line is that the score line is face up so that you can see it instead of face down. So I hope that makes sense, but it actually folds a lot easier too. So okay, now that all of my pieces have been folded, what I'm going to do is now locate where my little dots are. So I think I'm going to start where the 1 dots are, which is just one circle. So you'll see one circle here, and then you'll see one circle here. So what that means is you need to line up those 2 circles so that they fit together. There will be one side with a tab, and you will glue that to the inside. So you want to do that to the inside because this outside is going to be the outside of your letter, and you don't want to see that tab. So it'll just tuck into that inside. So we're going to grab some glue. Again, you see 2 circles, so the 1 circle here, 1 circle here, and then you're just going to join those together. So I have a little bit of glue here. I'm just going to place a little bit of glue right on that little tab, line it up, and press down for just a few seconds so that can really dry. And then I like to turn it over just to make sure everything is lining up, which it did. Just give it a couple more presses. Okay, so then I'm going to move to my number 2. So I'm going to find that, which is right here. You can see 2 circles and 2 circles. Once again, you're going to locate the tab, then place a little bit of glue right on the outside of that tab and glue it right to the inside of the other piece, just like this. Let it press for a few moments. Again, I like to turn it over just to make sure everything is seamlessly lining up, which it is. And then I'll move on to number 3. Okay, moving on. I see 3 dots here, and then I can see 3 dots here. So I'll grab that tab, put a little glue there, and then place it right down. Very, very easy. And you can use any paper that you would like. So you can personalize these. You can spell out anything you'd like, and you can personalize it as well to whatever theme you're throwing or room you're decorating, etc. Okay, so then naturally the ends will line up. So you're just going to then take the ends and then place a little glue on the inner tab and glue. Now it's also important to know you can do this in any order that you'd like. There's really no rules to assembling these letters. I prefer doing it in this order where I have the base all ready to go and then I place the letters on, but you can do it in any way. I always say whatever makes you feel the most confident or whatever makes the most sense to you is the order you should go in. Okay, so now we're going to start making it look like the E. So we are just going to start folding and getting it to start taking the shape of the E. So you'll fold in different directions. So this is the top of the E, as you will see come together. And then we have that little middle section. And then we have the bottom section, just like so. So do you see how that's coming together to make the E? Okay, so now what I want to do is I like to put the back on first. So I'm going to locate the back side of my E, which you'll see because your design is a little bit backwards. So that's going to go on the back. Okay, so I'm going to just turn this over, set this to the side, and it's going to be kind of a hot mess for a second. But what I would like to do next is I'm just going to assemble this E really quickly. So this just layers one on top of the other. Now I'm going to use pop dots for the front just to give it to some dimension, but I'm not going to worry about any dimension on the back of the, on the back of the E just because it doesn't really matter, and I think I'm going to attach these to the wall for the actual party. So I'm going to do it this way, but you'll see another method in a moment when we do the front of the E, which is really, really fun. Okay, so now this part you just take your time. So I just like to add a little bit of glue to, we're just going to assemble the top part of the E first. Okay, just like so. And then you just kind of line it up in 90-degree angles, just like that. And then this is all going to start assembling itself in just a moment because it'll all just kind of glue itself together. So then I'm just going to make sure that those line up really nicely. I can maneuver and move until that glue dries. It's pretty forgiving to allow me to move everything around. And then I'm just going to hold it there for a moment. Just like this. You see how everything's just starting to line up and take shape? So just hold it there, that way everything gets an opportunity to really stick. Again, everything kind of seems like a mess, but then it slowly just takes shape and it all works out. So don't stress over it, it's going to work out, it'll be just fine. Okay, so now that is all attached. So then I just go slowly again. So I'm going to go ahead and you can't really see under here, but I'm going to glue the next two together. You can go as fast or as slow. I just like to take my time. So I'm just going to line up those next two parts, 1 and 2. And then you can get your fingers underneath as well so that you can really press into that. See how my fingers are really pressing in under here? That double-sided paper is really cute too. It was kind of hard to decide what prints to use because there were too many good ones to choose from. Okay, and then again, going slowly, just going to take the next couple pieces, like so, and bend and place, just like this. Again, getting my fingers right underneath there so I can do a pinch. If you can see, I saved the most complicated letter to demonstrate, just to show you it is possible. It seems intimidating at the beginning because everything doesn't really look like it's going to take shape, but then the more you glue, just take a deep breath, it all lines up. Okay, the next two. Okay, and then at this point where most of it is already glued down, I find it a little bit easier to just glue from the top down, just sneaking some glue in where those pieces need to lay down and then just pressing down on it. Okay, so then for this last bit, what I like to do is I just like to keep the letter upside down, and I just like to sneak some glue right in that little crease where it needs to go, and then just press down. Because it's pretty much all assembled, and then you just need to adhere the last bit. Okay, so now we have the back side all on. So now we're going to flip it over, right side up, and we are going to start assembling. So I am going to do the same method. So I'm just going to take this off for a moment because we're going to add some pop dots to give some dimension in just a minute. And then we are going to just do this base part of the E first, which really is simple now because the E has taken shape. So we'll just do the same thing, but we can almost go a little bit quicker because we're not having to manipulate all of the edges. But you're going to want to just make sure everything lines up and then take your time pressing in. Though this glue dries really fast, so it makes for very quick crafting. So then I'm just going to take a little bit more glue, and by this time you get the point. We're just gonna keep assembling and gluing. How cute are these letters? I've been really wanting to do this for a long time, and I was just waiting for the right occasion, but now that I have done my first set, I really want to make some for the playroom or other rooms in the house. I think it would be a really, really fun way to personalize a space and do some really fun word art on the walls. So then I'm just going to do this last little piece. So just sneaking some glue right in between, and it is all assembled. So I'm going to let this dry for just a moment, make sure everything is where it needs to be. And believe it or not, it looks just like an E. Just when we thought that it was looking a little crazy in the beginning stages, it turns out exactly as it should. Okay, so there we go. We have our three-dimensional paper E. And now what we'll do is we are going to use some foam adhesive dots to place this E, this smaller E, onto the top, and it will just give it a little raised surface. So I'm just going to grab some foam adhesive dots. I purchased these at Hobby Lobby, but you can get them anywhere. And really, the more the better on this. You don't have to go crazy, of course, but giving it a little sturdy base is definitely the ticket here. You don't want to have too many gaps where it wants to pucker down. Okay, I love the big ones. They make quick work out of it. So I put one about every inch on there. You can do less, you can do more. And then my least favorite part is getting the little sticky parts off the back. Let me know if this takes you forever as well. Okay, so I have all of the little backs taken off, and so now I'm just going to simply line this up and place it right on the E. And then those pop dots really just give it some fun dimension to an already very dimensional piece, but it's really, really fun. It adds just a little something. Again, I didn't do the back because I'm probably either going to just place these on a table or I'm going to actually put them on the wall. So I didn't really worry about all of that work for the back, but you certainly can if you'd like. But that is how that little E turned out. I think it's so cute. So let's see how they all come together. Okay, here is how all of the letters turned out. I think they turned out really cute. Again, you can spell anything you'd like. You can use any type of prints and paper to personalize your letters, but I thought this was really fun, and we're doing a 5th birthday party soon, so I thought this would be a really fun way to bring the party together. So I hope you enjoyed this. They're super easy to make, and I hope you give this a try. Let me know if you have made 3D letters before, and I will see you in the next video.